Welcome back to Cloud Reset, day 3 of the Higher Education Technology Agenda.
Wow, day 3 already.
I know, Naren, I don't know how we did it.
I don't know how we did it either, but here we are.
Yep, I think there's a few sore heads here this morning from the gala dinner.
Look, I don't think we need to talk too much about that. I know I feel a little bit tired myself this morning. I feel a little bit dried out. Sort of woke up at about 4:30. Oh, what's going on? But refreshed. I went for a bike ride. I've had a lovely breakfast, and I think I feel okay.
Coffee fixes everything.
It does.
And we're excited to have a wonderful special guest with us today, Kathleen Mackay.
Hi,
Welcome,
everyone.
Kathleen. A little bit of an intro for Kathleen. Kathleen is the Chief Information Officer at University of Tasmania, bringing over 2 decades of experience in technology leadership, digital transformation and cultural change. Appointed in 2023, she has previously held senior roles, including Chief Digital Officer at Revenue New South Wales and Head of Digital at Boral Limited. She has also been recognised, congratulations, as Australian CIO of the Year in 2021. Beyond her professional roles, she serves as the board of TAS ICT, is a member of Chief Executive Women and contributes to ARNET's Advisory Committee for Tasmania. Welcome to the podcast, Kathleen.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So talk us through it. I mean, you've been here for 3 days. I imagine you've spoken to a great many people. Is there any sort of standout conversations or things you've seen over the last 3 days?
Well, it's certainly been absolutely packed. I do love THETA. I love the way that they are so efficient in making absolutely the best use of the time of those that come along. I did expect that AI would be a thing. It's hard to get away from it. But I've been surprised that in almost every conversation, we've been having AI-related conversations. I think there was perhaps one about cyber that I went to yesterday, and Nadia from ARNET was bringing us back to just the basics of getting your security right, getting your two-factor, getting your MFA all set up, making sure you've got cyber awareness in your staff and your students. And that was the only session I went to that didn't have a huge AI focus.
It wasn't that long ago when security was every conversation. I mean, we were part of that too. It was very easy to gather an audience to talk about security. We know we do a lot of work with Adapt Research. Interesting stat from them recently, CIOs across Australia prioritising Gen AI projects above security initiatives for the first time, which is consistent with what you're seeing because everybody's talking about AI. I know within our own business, our CEO was like, well, how can we be leaner and more scalable and do more, et cetera, et cetera. And so the task immediately was how can we adopt this technology to be better and more efficient internally. We've done this, of course. I think every project that we've run, we've learned a little bit more about it as well. Jono, we talk about lived experience. We have that. I think people are on the hunt for it. How is it with you? I mean, so what's the conversation like?
So I might take you back to the sort of comment about prioritising AI either alongside or above cyber. For me, it's certainly not above cyber, but there's parallel streams of work.
Sure.
Cyber remains a number one ticket to the game. You've got to have the trust of your community. You've got to have the trust of your staff and your students. And you've got to continuously build your cyber practices.
Yeah.
And increase that maturity. And we're on a continual journey around that. And that is a priority which we're not going to deprioritize anytime soon. But that said, alongside that, we are getting the same requests at UTAS ITS team as all CIOs are getting, which is, can you help us make good use and understand what Gen AI means?
Yeah.
And how we can embrace that, where it's appropriate to embrace it,
Sure.
and where might we actually want to just step away and just double down on what it actually means to be uniquely human and to have that amazing brain that we humans have and put it to good use. Given that we are teaching the next generation of humans who will go on to be politicians, doctors, lawyers, they need to really understand what AI is and where it's appropriate to use it, but also its limitations.
100%. Look, the Microsoft Build conference was just held and Satya Nadella was talking about that recently. He was all over LinkedIn. The conversation has shifted from augmentation and tools that can help us to almost like peering relationships, and whereby you may have an agent or capability that is quite literally like having someone sitting next to you with skills and capability. I think it's definitely about doing more. It's not a case of replacing. In fact, all the really smart conversations that talk about, is coding dead and is it a lost art now? I know that Mark Rusonovich, he was talking to Deb, one of our SOC analysts, actually on LinkedIn, basically saying absolutely not. The LLMs, they're good for pattern recognition, but they're not solving problems. The technology's there to help. It's not replacing anyone. That's
right.
The right thing to say.
Well, for now, who knows? But no, I agree. We've had some excellent speakers on this subject who are active in the sector, even over the last couple of days, speak around the idea of AI as augmenting humans. Humans are fantastic, and what are the capabilities that we can leverage to produce better students and people who can go out into society and make a difference. And that's been really encouraging to see, I think, as a general theme in the sector, because I was quite interested around what impact generative AI may have on the higher education sector, given the level of now democratization of knowledge that it offers. What's your view on that?
When I'm looking at where AI, so all types of AI, but specifically Gen AI, can help or hinder in a university, I'm taking a different approach depending on the different areas of the university that I'm talking about, because universities are massively diverse. So there's university operations, your IT, your legal, your student services, your campus services. AI can be used in there to make us more efficient, make us more effective. In the help desk, it can take first line queries, for example. In campus services, predictive maintenance. So that's a sort of efficiency play. Not just efficiency, but efficiency primarily. And then if you think about, well, the other dimensions of a university are your learning and teaching and your research. And how you think about AI in those disciplines are quite different. And even within learning and teaching, well, teaching engineering is different to teaching law, is different to teaching pharmacy, is different to health and medicine. So what we're encouraging at UTAS is our discipline leaders, our heads of school and our senior academics, to really think about what is the future that we're preparing our students for. If you're going to be a pharmacologist, if you're going to be a physiotherapist, perhaps you're going to be using AI in the future to help demonstrate the biomechanics and help understand and diagnose patient conditions. So we've got to be preparing our students now for that world that they're going into in 3+ years' time. And then if we think about the research space, machine learning for a long time has helped us with research. At UTAS, we are huge on climate action, genomics, dementia research, all of which has got massive petabytes of data sets. So machine learning has always been a thing in there. Gen AI may potentially help with literature reviews. If you're a PhD student and it was agreed as appropriate to use AI in a literature review, you can see how that would be very helpful to summarize what is, probably a year's worth of reading and a lot of pages. But we need to have those discussions just to figure out, is that giving all that task over to AI, how do we do that in a way where we're still able to kind of own and understand the outcome? So we're not just passing it off and ticking it off, but we're getting augmented help to do that task, but we're still responsible for the outcome.
I think it's a really interesting space, because I often even think about when I'm leveraging Gen AI myself, there's a little bit of a thing going on for me, which is what will the impact on my ability to critically think and be creative? What will the impact be? And if I lean too far into this, well, how do I still exercise that critical thinking muscle? And I think that's on the minds of a lot of professors and educators that we've been speaking to at this conference. And I still think there's been it's still seen as an overwhelmingly positive thing. One of the ones I thought was interesting was developing agents that can augment teachers that students can interact with after hours and have a dialogue with to help them test their ideas. So and all of those models are being thought about and being developed. How do we use AI as a teaching aid as opposed to a way to cheat on an exam? And somebody else said if the exam can be completed with AI, then it's not a great exam. Teacher needs to come up with a better exam. Really interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. The AI tutors I think there's two use cases there. One is for the student to interact with an AI. And again, if we think about health and medicine, if you're a nursing student, you could interview an AI agent, which may have the persona of an 8-year-old child with a broken arm. They may have the persona of an elderly person, perhaps with dementia, who may have had a fall. Our students are interacting with agents in this way, and then uploading the transcript as their assessment task, which is one really good use of AI. Another use that we're just in the sort of conceptual stage is the idea of academics and professional staff having a digital twin of themselves that is the AI.
Sure.
So that's where the student could interact with the accessible 24/7 version
Yes.
of the professor,
Yes.
and ask those questions.
I love this.
Yeah.
This was it was about I think it was Clifford we spoke to yesterday, talking about teaching staff wanting to claw back some hours. You know, they're never off, right? And so they're constantly in demand. So something like that would allow them to reclaim some time, perhaps.
Yeah. Look, our academic staff work incredibly hard. They also have a kind of multiple masters between their research, between their teaching, and between all the things that they need to do administratively. So I think there is definitely a win there if we can help them spend more time on the things that really matter.
I have to ask, because I've been asking this question, can I go in now and use AI to complete a master's degree in 6 months instead of 3 years?
Well, what would be the point?
I don't know. I just want to do it faster.
Look, our students pay a lot of money to come to university. And do they come just to get the ticket? Or do they come actually to get the knowledge?
Yeah.
So I think
Anything like my uni experience, you go to have a good time. I mean, I eventually got there. Yeah. Carry on.
It's a great answer. It's a pretty consistent answer. Uni's not just about the certificate; it's about the experience, because there's so much more going on, collaborating with real people. Right?
I mean, look, we're talking a little bit about like how AI can help the university experience. I think universities and all their knowledge, particularly research data, can actually help the LLMs. Let's face it. I mean, there's such good information there. I'm sure the LLMs would love to train themselves on all that wonderful knowledge. And Jono, we've talked about there's got to be an economy for this, right? There's got to be a commercial model whereby a university can say, you know what, we think we're worth this amount of money. We're going to train your model, but you've got to pay for this. Right?
Yeah, and I love that idea. One of my academic colleagues alerted me to the fact that there is a website that is looking for academics and it's a maths background, stats background, software engineering background, and essentially the job is completely flexible, work remotely, train the
models.
LLMs.
Yeah, Jono, this is happening already.
Yeah, I think the future of the sector is pretty bright. We have heard a few different whispers and views over the last 3 days around how this technology can drive new revenue streams into higher education and potentially make higher education more cost effective for students and help subsidise better outcomes in Australia, because I think there's an overwhelming view that funding models are difficult in the sector. Is that your experience, getting projects up and funding?
The priorities still get funded, but it's no secret that it's tight and it's very challenging. Great research always attracts research funding, and our challenge is really to make the best of that money and to make sure that that money does go to the front line of research as much as possible. And AI, digitization, and all of your technology tools, including your advanced HPC compute, is really in service of that. I think when we talk about more of the sort of teaching and education side, we'd be thrown about, well, what is the sort of future of that, given that there are already fully AI university-like organizations out there that provide completely personalized learning. My view on that is, that sounds a very transactional kind of thing. The value of coming to a great university with a great brand, with great professors who have really great deep knowledge, is to learn from them, be mentored by them, be supported by them. So I think we can become more efficient, more cost effective in some elements of either curriculum refreshes to keep it up to date, curriculum delivery, personalization of journeys, but we still need the humans really to bring that credibility into that conversation. There's still something to be said for original thought.
I think so too. I'm not sure I would have as much fun with a completely AI degree.
No, not at all. Doesn't mean that we all wouldn't benefit from having one of those lovely robots in the house doing all the duties for us and taking the bins down, etc. And I don't know what price you put on that, but if the thing can do anything, right? If it can do all those jobs for me, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm good to go. And Tassie, I love Tassie, by the way. I have a real soft spot for Tasmania. Got a house there, in fact.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I got some. My mother-in-law lives there. My sister-in-law, etc. So every chance I get, I love going to Tasmania. You obviously like it as well.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I moved there in 2021, and it's just fantastic.
Yes.
The air genuinely is clean and great.
Lovely.
There are many mountains to climb. There are very many outdoor activities to pursue. And we've got a great university.
Sure. 100%. Love Tassie. I think I might have to retire there, Jono. I don't know when. Certainly not next year. But I think Tassie's got a soft spot for me for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And tell us something cool. Like, what is the coolest thing that you and your team are working on at the uni? It can be anything. You got to pick one.
One of the things that we've worked on over the last year is cyber escape rooms.
Okay,
So
tell us more.
We got feedback from our staff that the sort of mundane, essential training that we have to do, and we still have to do it, by the way, is just a little bit routine. And if you've been a staff member for 5 years, you've done variations of the same sort of phishing, whaling, and so on, scams training. So to liven it up, we recently had an escape room in person with our University Strategic Forum, which is essentially the top 200 most senior leaders. We broke out into groups and we were facilitated through a whole heap of puzzles. And it was really fun because you got to be on the threat actor side as well as on the defense side. So we got to construct the phishing emails, construct the whaling emails, construct how we were going to work around the two-factor prompts, think about how we were going to insidiously get credentials. And how we were going to, tailgate through the physical security aspects of the space. So it was fun. Leaders in the university always like a good competition, so there were prizes for the winners.
Yep.
And it was really, really great just to put cyber at the top of everyone's minds.
Yep.
And remind people why we do that, but also just a bit of fun and something different.
I love that. And tell me, were the top 3 enemy combatants, are they now on some kind of list?
Funny you should say that.
Shamed. Yeah, like we do those little simulated phishing emails in the organisation, particularly in a technology company like us. And if any one of my team fails that, I tell you what, they should just pack up their stuff, maybe just move it into the hallway. You're done. You can't afford to fail one of those. Yeah.
Well, we are a little more supportive with that.
Oh, okay. I see.
A little bit more gentle.
The first time.
Yeah, that's right. You can't do it twice.
The best phishing email that we ever constructed is free donuts in the kitchen. Click here to secure yours.
Really?
That one was way more click-through than even the pay-rise or the Amazon delivery or the free Netflix. So
People respond to food.
100%.
Food is a rule. I can buy into that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, look, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been great. Yeah, day 3. I don't know how much more we have of this conference, Jono. Is there any more for us to see and do, or is this it right now? Are we done? Are we clocking off?
Couple more hours. Maybe we'll go and shake some hands and do some high fives.
Another coffee, perhaps.
Another cup of coffee.
Thank
Kathleen,
you so much.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you very much for taking the
Thanks
time.
for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.